All right, we're live. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Entities and Relationships. This is Albina and Lily and myself, Max. Lily, did you want to translate into Hungarian?
No, we'll just add subtitles later, probably.
You're going to add subtitles.
Why not? Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So this is a really exciting specialty topic for me personally. I've been doing each specialty, talk to the entity specialty topic, which is like children and entities, money and entities, relationship and entities, addiction and entities. There's like 11 different topics. I've been doing one a month this year, and this is what's happening this month. And so I haven't done some of these beforehand. This is one of those, and it's really exciting perceiving leading up to each of these. And relationships and entities is so unique because it's like all relationships, it has to do with like all of the relationships you have with everything, because your business is an entity, your family is like an entity that's created, and then there's the beings without bodies that are entities that you have relationships to that you mostly ignore. So that's what we're going to talk about. Lily is also a certified Talk to the Entities facilitator. Albina is a very avid fan of Talk to the Entities, and has been interested in Talk to the Entities for a long time too. She has a ghost in her bedroom, as you can see.
Wow, talking about ghosts in the bedroom. Is there anything?
Here we go. Let's hit it.
Just getting in there, like directly.
Don't mess around. I love it.
Is there anything, like a tip as a facilitator of this topic is there anything that the spirit world has taught you about relationships or, that stuff?
Well, BAD.
Yeah, BED.
Do you mean like sex literally, or do you mean like relationships? Well, sex and relationships are two very different.
Up to you.
Well, the thing that I love about all of the talk, everything about the entity topic, is it gets me more like I have more awareness around things that contribute to every part of my life. So with this, while I was listening to Shannon's 3-part telecall that she's done on this particular topic, it's really gotten me more tuned into all of the different relationship energies that are there, because there's like the two parties and then there's the relationship, which is it's like its own entity. And the energy that I put into those, for example, family, which I mentioned beforehand, and because we assume so much, and all of the things that people align and agree and resist and react to, it's like, and then we're still feeding it energy rather than getting clear and having choice. So it's like opened my eyes in a way where I'm, wow, what am I putting energy towards? Like, what relationships am I maintaining, or just like letting sort of sit there like a piece of crap, that I'm not dealing with, rather than, okay, what would I actually like to choose with this? What is my choice with this? What would I like to create? So that's really like mostly where it's perked my interest and awareness.
What do you call that? So in your point of view, what's like the most difficult thing to handle in relationships that these tools might help you with?
The most difficult things. People, including myself.
Oh, yeah. Not true.
But the thing is too, like when it's people, it's like you have something to focus on, which can be a distraction sometimes. And then those other relationships, like with your family, it's like when we don't acknowledge it, it's more difficult to deal with it because we don't acknowledge it in the first place. So anything you don't acknowledge is difficult to deal with. So one of the cool things about this particular class is I at least started to acknowledge all of these different relationships and things that I wasn't really acknowledging beforehand, and becoming aware of. What for you guys, what are some of the relationships that you would say are like different, that people necessarily wouldn't consider a relationship, but that there is like an energetic flow that's happening there?
Well, yeah, for me, definitely business, because there is a relationship with my own business, and it's a talk to the entities business. Therefore, it's it's very characteristic, let's say. And for me, these tools really help to like manage the relationship with my business. Yeah, that's a biggie. But the funny thing is, all the talk to the entities tool, including talking to the spirit world, is basically how I learned to handle people, regardless whether it's my relationships, like personal level or family or business. I learned how to communicate with living people through the spirit world. That's the funny thing. So I'm a huge fan. I'm supporting this 200%. Please, people, learn how to talk to entities, and it's going to help you so much talking to real people. That's my take on it.
Totally. And if you guys want to hear more about Lily's story, on the Talk to the Entities YouTube channel, there's Stories of Change. And it's a bunch of different ones that we recorded with different Talk to the Entities facilitators, and their stories of how they got to where they are now. And I didn't know most of these. Like, I interviewed all of the facilitators, including Lily, and it blew my fucking mind because I've known you for quite some years,
Right.
and I had no idea that this is like your story and what changed for you with the Talk to the Entities tools. So check it out. There's like 23 different videos, and Lily's is one of those. And it just blew my mind, like the change that she had with her body and her whole reality by using the Talk to the Entities tools and like actually applying them to her life.
Yeah. Life-saving, just saying.
Life-saving at the very least, but just like phenomenal. So Albina, what about you in terms of relationships, like in the energetic flow?
Yeah, I was looking at that topic. What that topic surprised me with was actually the different relationships that I have not really acknowledged it being a relationship. I was rewriting my CV, and I realized there was a company that I used to work for many years ago. And there was that energy of, I can't let this one text go, like all the things I've done with that company. And I just couldn't let go. I was just like, what's going on here? There is like something, like there is that thing of holding. You can't really move forward nor like anywhere. And it just clicked that it's a relationship that I have with an institution. And it was there. And I destroyed it and created it with that particular entity, which was my former employer. And it was not logically, but something changed after that. I had so much ease with doing stuff. And then I started exploring, wait a second, where else do I have things that I have not acknowledged as relationships between like me and some other entity, which is like not a person or not someone who doesn't have a body anymore. But like I was looking at how many clothes or stuff people have relationship with, and like don't let it go and don't let it change. And I started going through that, and also the relationship with the earth. Or I started like going, okay, what other relationships do I have that I have not acknowledged, and what can I rediscover in that sense? It didn't make sense in the terms of logic. Probably it sounds even crazy now, but it was so relaxing for me when I handled that relationship with that entity. And it's so funny, like right before we started that Facebook Live, what I mentioned to you is like, wow, there is that energy of being drained. And I realized that with the upcoming entities and relationship call on Wednesday, it already started for me. And my ask is actually to clear and to handle all the relationships that are draining me, my life, and possibilities. And also to open up to, because I could also simultaneously perceive like some avoidance or like blockage, like, I don't want to have a relationship with you. Go away, go away, go away. And there was that energy of contribution that I haven't opened yet to create a relationship with. because for so long I was so focused on destroying and uncreating relationships that I kind of missed of that possibility of creating a relationship, like conscious relationship.
Right. And,
Sorry, I'm babbling, but that's what.
And that thing that you said as well is about like the avoiding. What I noticed is when I avoid, like I'm putting so much energy into not being aware of something and handling something. So it's both where we are putting energy in, where it's like not really creating anything awesome, or we avoid actually being aware. So it's like these huge, like, no wonder we feel drained sometimes, is because we're not really being clear about what we desire to create with these relationships. I'd love to give one example as well about, because we're talking a lot about businesses, for example, people, that sort of stuff, but then also because we have like, there's created entities and then there's entities that exist. So the created entities are like business, even the concept of family is a created element. We're going to go more into this in the intro call on Wednesday as well. But then there's actual beings like us three, you guys that are watching this. Your entity is, your being is an entity. But it's not a created entity by, mutual belief between people. So the thing about the beings, this example of, I became aware about like a week and a half ago, like my family, including my ancestry. So all of the not alive family that I have that are still impacting how I function and how I choose in a huge way. And I had to acknowledge to myself, well, there was this awareness rather of like, wow, I can actually be the master of this reality as opposed to being at the effect of it. But before I acknowledged that, even just the amount of influence from how I'm connected to my family and all of those ancestors, I didn't even get what choice I was making beforehand or what that impact was by being connected to that particular entity, right? So when we have this sort of awareness, just like Albina said, just like Lily said too, when you acknowledge first and foremost, it's like the first step to handling these sorts of things. And then there's a whole bunch of other tools that we can apply to get more clarity around that. Yeah, so what else do you guys want to talk about? Anything else?
I think
we can talk about anything on Wednesday, right?
We can talk about anything on Wednesday, and we're going to specialize towards this whole relationship and entities area, because there's like so much in all of these topics. It's incredible. It like blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It already started. So yeah.
Yes.
Are we there yet?
I am.
Cool.
Albina likes to get started early.
Aww.
It's always a good time for a foreplay.
For you guys that are watching, if there's any ping in your universe around this and it makes no sense, like follow the energy. With anything that you choose, hopefully you can ask the question of, what will my life be like if I choose this? What will my life be like in 5 years if I choose this? Get the energy of that. And then what will my life be like in 5 years if I don't choose this? And get the energy of that. And then just like whatever creates more lightness. Because if you choose towards a particular energy, you'll have more of that in the future. So if you choose towards heaviness, you tend to have more of that in the future. If you choose towards lightness, you have more of that into the future. So that's like the easy, because rather than trying to logic this, it's such a non-logical area when you're dealing with entities. I'm sure Albina and Lily can both like say totally. It's like it doesn't make any sense to your logical mind, and I'm a head tripper of magnitude. So when I try and choose in that sort of way, it like never fucking works, especially now. So I would recommend following the energy with that. And yeah, what could your future be if you make certain choices, whether it's this class or something different? It's not a specific thing. But you have to go with what you know. Nobody else can really say, do this and you'll have this. And if they do, they're full of shit.
On that note, come play on Wednesday.
On that note, do come play on Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for being on this Facebook Live with me, Albina and Lily, and everybody that's watching.
Thank you, guys.
How does it get even better than this? And
we'll see you all on Wednesday, actually.
Totally. I'm just gonna put this little. There's a comment, and I can put them up here sometimes. What do you suggest to do in the relationship with the ancestors, as you were mentioning that influence from Christina? So the first thing I mentioned, I'm not going to go deep into this, but I want to give you a couple of things since you asked. The first thing that we already mentioned is acknowledge that relationship and that energy, and allow yourself to sort of expand out and lower your walls and barriers and acknowledge what is, what you're aware of, because you are aware. And then, like Albina mentioned, okay, everything this is, let's destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, pervads and beyonds. And then if you get sort of specific pings on how to deal with it, like if there's specific entities that you're aware of, or if there's a group energy that you're aware of that doesn't really work, like look at what actually you desire to have and what is possible to create with that entity. So a lot of questions essentially, and getting clear about what your reality is and what you'd like to go towards. And it doesn't mean you can create that in that particular relationship, because there's obviously other beings and points of views and so forth in that. But the more clarity you get yourself, the easier it is to move forward with any relationship. So there we go. Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
See you on Wednesday.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.